Right now, I want to go to former CIA Deputy Division Chief for Korea under one President Clinton, Bruce Klingner. Bruce, very good to have you. What do you make of this and what you see going on? This is at the luncheon where they were assembling at the table earlier. Again, they seem to be getting along. It seems to be kind of steady as she goes. Your thoughts?
Well, we're waiting for the actual results. Whether they get along with each other is really immaterial. I mean, Kim Jong-un is under U.S. sanctions for human rights violations. The UN Commission of Inquiry has deemed that Kim has committed crimes against humanity. So, you know, we're seeing what will actually come out of the result. We're looking for North Korea to embrace the UN
Would you
requirement.
not have met with him at all? Do you think it's a waste of time that they're even meeting?
Well, I think I would have gone with a more traditional bottom-up approach where you have, movement towards U.S. conditions and the UN required CVID principle, prior to having a summit. A presidential visit or meeting, particularly with the first time with an enemy nation, is the highest coin in the diplomatic realm, and I think you should spend it quite carefully. So in 2000, when North Korea invited Bill Clinton, and I attended White House meetings as a CIA person, the decision was we would not deploy the president until you had some kind of agreement already worked out, rather than having the president as a negotiator-in-chief.
But didn't Bill Clinton later regret that? Now, there are timing issues, too, with the Palestinian Accord and trying to work on that. You obviously had your hands full, I understand that. But there was some regret, at least he had, that this opportunity came and went.
Well, there were some in the Clinton administration who depicted it as they ran out of time or it was because of the contested election. The reality was that there was not enough progress between North Korean and U.S. officials in Kuala Lumpur. The North Koreans would not be forthcoming on the details of a supposed missile agreement. So contrary to some assertions, we were not, very close to a missile agreement. We were quite far apart. So it was because the North would not move forward on providing details of the parameters of a missile agreement. So once the Clinton administration realized they weren't going to make progress with North Korea, that's when they shifted to try to get progress on the Middle East.
Be that as it may, there's no denying, to your point, that this North Korean leader is not a nice guy. He's murdered many family members. He's starved millions of his people. But we can't pick and choose the leaders of the countries with whom we negotiate. So would you fault the president for even trying?
Well, I think, it's all water under the bridge now, as they are at the summit. So the main thing is we're looking for results. So from the U.S. side, we'd be looking for North Korea to move away from its concept of denuclearization, which, as any Korea watcher knows, is they see it as global arms control. As a self-professed member of the nuclear club, they will go to zero when every other member of the nuclear club goes to zero. We would also be looking for more detailed text than we ever had in a North Korean agreement, much more like the arms control treaties we had with the Soviet Union. We need very rigorous verification protocols, and we'd also like to address human rights situations.
Is it your sense, and I usually go by markets as a proxy sometimes, Bruce, not all the time, but sometimes, that seem relieved that these guys either aren't coming to blows or that one hasn't stormed out of a meeting. They're transitory reads of things. But what do you make of that? That markets seem to be expressing a relief here.
Right. Well, anytime anyone raises tensions on the peninsula, whether it was North Korea with nuclear tests or missile tests, or with the U.S. talk of a preventive attack, that sends jitters through markets.
Sure.
But what we've seen is over the years, the South Korean market actually doesn't react very strongly to North Korean tension rise, and it moves for a few days, and then it sort of comes back to the status quo. It's sort of the Korea factor it's referred to, is that that the North Korean risk is already factored in. So surprisingly, nuclear tests, missile tests don't really affect the South Korean market all that much, or for more than a few days.
Bruce Klingner, very good having you. Thanks for taking the time.
You.
And to his point, the devil is in the details and what has been arranged here today. There's so much we don't know. We do know that the talks continue. And that, say what you will of the leader of North Korea, say what you will of the controversy around the president, how he treated some of our allies at the G7. Both are riddles wrapped in conundrums, and both, of course, are surprising those who thought that these talks could be bumpy. They might very well still prove to be that. But we have to see the plan, we have to see the outline, and we have to see what they've committed to do beyond this meeting. As financial markets in that neck of the woods seem to be relieved that so far, so good. And for a community that was very, very worried about a little rocket